Hello and welcome everyone to Ukrainian Blockchain Hub. I am Maria Wovchok and today my guest is Hartej Sawhney, founder and CEO of the company Zokyo, which is purportedly a leader in blockchain security. You're auditing smart contracts. Am I correct?
Yeah, we have two divisions. The company is Zokyo.io. Previously, some people know me as the co-founder of Hosho, but this is the next chapter. We have two divisions under the company of Zokyo.io. We do both smart contract auditing, and we have a cybersecurity division where we do penetration testing, VAPT testing, social engineering. Overall, it's an offensive security team, and we do what in the cybersecurity world is called red teaming, which is we are thinking the way a hacker would that has ill intentions.
In this case, dark or white hacker?
Black, yeah.
Black,
So we're
black.
Yeah, so we're
Correct.
thinking the way a black hat hacker would be thinking, and we're going in and behaving as what we call ethical hackers. So we have an ethical hacking team, and then the other side of the company is software development, where the engineering team is actually based out of Kiev, right here, and the business and sales and marketing side is in Los Angeles. And that whole business is mostly focused on functional programming development. Our engineers are passionate mostly about the language Haskell, and we do a lot of machine learning, data science, deep learning development.
By the way, as I mentioned before, you're purportedly a leader in blockchain security. Is that correct?
If people want to call me that, sure. It's just, the thing is, we've had a background of being in cybersecurity, and the team is world-renowned hackers that have been doing a lot of hacking, including the CISO, Anand Prakash, has hacked into the likes of Uber and Facebook and Google. When the blockchain space came around, we started to focus on penetration testing of people like cryptocurrency exchanges and wallets. And we began smart contract auditing companies like ICOs was the majority in the last few years, where there was a smart contract where the code needed to be audited. But at the end of the day, we were defining what it means to be on the intersection of cybersecurity, code auditing, ethical hacking, and this blockchain industry. Because this industry is not highly regulated. There's no PCI compliance or HIPAA compliance like in healthcare. So there's no regulatory need or demand for anybody in our industry to respect cybersecurity. So we had to define blockchain cybersecurity. So we started the first blockchain cybersecurity conference. I spoke a lot about blockchain cybersecurity all around the world. So that's perhaps why some people refer to me as a leader, but it's not something I say myself.
Okay. Do you know the Ukrainian team Hacken?
Yeah, very much.
Okay, and they also organized the conference Hack It in the past. So, are you
Yeah, so
are they your competitors?
Yeah, very much. I
So-
mean, they were born far after us, and they were born
After.
Yeah, we were auditing smart contracts, and we've audited significantly more smart contracts than they have. And they chose to ICO as a company, and we didn't. So they exist on the basis of being able to generate a token and then hire staff. We never generated a token. We charged people in Ethereum, and we charged people in Bitcoin and USD. They generated a token and then accepted non-USD, accepted USD and Ethereum and not their token. But they're good friends. Dimitri's a good friend. But of course, if you audit a smart contract, technically we're competing. But smart contracts need to be audited multiple times. So there's been situations where we share business with teams like Hacken. Same with penetration testing. Often people use multiple third parties to do a penetration test. So in cybersecurity, even though you're competing, you can still be good friends because you might have both of your teams go after the same, say, Bitcoin wallet.
Oh, and then the same black hackers.
Well, yeah, sure. They're not black yet. We're the white.
No. You are the white, but I mean,
We're avoiding black.
Yeah, you're trying to audit smart contracts, so the black hackers won't be able to find a vulnerability there.
Yeah.
So, talking especially about the smart contracts auditing, as you mentioned, you use human resources, and actually, you stated before that you use humans to code for code audits. Don't rely on machines. So, in this case, we may say that humans are still needed, human resources, because some companies are trying to make it automated, the auditing. So do you still think that for this we need only humans?
No, I mean, right now we find critical vulnerabilities to this day on both penetration testing and on smart contract auditing with manual testing. And although automated tooling is increasingly used, I think that there's gonna be a very, very, very long time before auditing code for a smart contract becomes 100% automated. I think that there will be some unique scenarios where certain types of automatedly built smart contracts can be quickly audited through just automated tooling, and I think that will grow. And there's companies working on that, but at the end of the day, I think that the balance of the power between having an experienced engineer who has years of QA experience and years of cybersecurity experience to go through code both manually and then leverage automated tooling, that's still extremely powerful and it's not about to disappear anywhere. I think saying it's about to disappear is kind of like saying quantum computing is going to change everything.
Oh, we'll see. But you know what? Have you heard the news that the Google, also Microsoft, purportedly is also working on its quantum computer, apart from IBM?
I'm sure everybody is.
Like everybody, not everybody, but still, it would be like different topic for discussion. But talking about smart contracts, may you name now for example top 5 or top 10 smart contracts vulnerabilities, which you have like auditing, like which you came across while
I
auditing?
could mention a couple of things that have happened in the past. We've had everything happen from if this smart contract for a token generation event were to go live, that the founders of the token would never receive tokens. We've had situations where there's infinite token generation, where the tokens are infinitely going to be generated.
May you name some cases, or are they like
No, I'd rather
secret?
not.
Okay.
It's just these are.
But these are
I don't even
interesting.
actually. I don't even
These are
actually remember
interesting
the names.
examples.
We've been doing this for a long time.
But if you may name some of them, and if you remember them, please do, because
I'd rather not.
Okay, because in that case I would Google them, for example. And
Yeah, that would be not nice.
okay.
Yeah, we found all types of things. We found lots of critical vulnerabilities used to be found, but I will say the quality of smart contracts continued to improve. I would say that the industry has started to respect cybersecurity more, and we have to thank cryptocurrency exchanges for that. Cryptocurrency exchanges have started to make sure to demand that if you want to be listed on our exchange and you want your token to be listed, that you have to show proof that your smart contract was audited. I think that's a really big step forward. I don't know if they're all requiring getting your website penetration tested as well, but I think that should also be a requirement. But that's a big step. The thing is, the reality is, and we're in cybersecurity, and people only really come to us to do penetration test, mostly because of regulation. It's just the fact, right? It's
So
GDPR, PCI
see.
compliance, HIPAA.
So do you have like among your clients crypto exchanges? A lot of them.
Yeah,
Which
not as many as I'd like, but yeah.
Okay, among them, which you may name, which you have been auditing, that they are really secure? Which crypto exchanges, for the time of being, which you know are the most secure at the moment?
I can't mention who we've personally been working with.
Yeah, I generally, I mean
but
generally.
I would say generally out there, there's a lot of. Actually, I'll only mention one that I think goes beyond they go above and beyond other exchanges on respecting security and have a really clean track record, and that's Kraken.
Kraken.
So I would say like the one exchange that really has gone above and beyond to also meet regulatory standards, only list very limited tokens, and they also release really great material on how to protect your personal cybersecurity. And they were one of the first exchanges to do that. So yeah, I can only mention Kraken, and they don't pay me or endorse me to
I
say
see.
this.
If we are talking about, again, smart contracts, more and more projects, they are trying to make their smart contracts more secure. At the moment, on which blockchain do you consider smart contracts are the most secure?
Well, everything to date is still the majority of the smart contracts that we're continuing to audit still are ERC20 on Ethereum, and I would still
But
say that they're secure.
secure, are you sure?
I mean, after they're audited by a third party, yeah,
Yeah, like your company.
correct.
Uh-huh. What do you think, for example, about Tron, about smart contracts?
We haven't audited a very many EOS smart contracts, and maybe that has to do with the fact that a lot of these newer blockchains are extremely immature. Like for example, like what evidence do we have that the EOS blockchain is audited itself, like the actual blockchain?
I see.
A lot of these blockchains have a decentralized consensus, so you have to have multiple parties vote on who would conduct such an audit of the entire blockchain.
So how do they do that? Do they do that?
I haven't
Oh.
kept up with the current what's the
Okay.
latest on EOS's blockchain being audited.
Uh-huh.
But there's security vulnerabilities in a lot of these blockchains, and these blockchains are immature, and it's not like I'm seeing dozens and dozens of smart contracts come on our desks from the EOS blockchain. But perhaps that will change.
For example, also, have you been auditing, for example, Ricardian contracts? Have you come across this?
Nope.
Okay. Now again, talking about your company, you moved, as you mentioned, from
I am a friend with Vinay Gupta, who's been like the king of Ricardian smart contracts and on Ethereum, and we just talked on the phone just yesterday. But no, I'm not auditing any of those smart contracts at the moment.
What have you been talking about? Maybe in the future you will audit some of
We've
those.
been talking about how he is now working with William Shatner, and William Shatner is going to the Satoshi Roundtable, and
When?
William in February.
Oh, tell more about it.
William Shatner is now super into crypto thanks to Vinay Gupta, and Vinay Gupta is probably the biggest thought leader on tokenizing real assets, leveraging Ricardian smart contracts. You can just look up his name, Vinay Gupta, and look up his company. And
I know.
yeah, he's great.
Talking about your company still, you've moved from San Francisco after so-called crypto winter, and at that time, Las Vegas, and you have to cut back like 80% of your stuff. Now you're based in Kiev, Ukraine. Are you looking for? You've been looking for also stuff here. Are you looking for the time being, or have you gathered your team now?
So we completely restructured. I'm working under a new entity. It's called Zokyo.io. We no longer have an office in the United States. I'm leveraging a team in Bangalore, as well as we have a team in Kiev. The team in Kiev is the software development side of our business, where we typically like to work by augmenting a team by having 2 to 3 full stack engineers, a project manager, and a QA person dedicated to a company. And my co-founder and CTO is based in Kiev, and he's a key member of the functional programming meetup, which is one of the only, if not the only, meetups that's technical and in English in Ukraine. And my CTO is a part of it. He helps run it. His name is Vlad Kirilov. And so together with Vlad and my other co-founder, Yuri Milyotin, We've been able to build a strong engineering team here in Kiev, and I myself am splitting time between the United States and Kiev, and going down to London a lot whenever we need to.
Okay, what made you move to Kiev? Why have you chosen the capital of Ukraine?
Well, I'll start by saying that not only is my wife Ukrainian and my son was born here,
Oh,
but I actually really like Kiev. I've been coming here for a long time, and I came to Kiev to speak at a blockchain Bitcoin conference before I met my wife.
uh-huh.
And I met my wife at a Bitcoin conference
Oh,
in Vegas
interesting.
after I fell in love with Kiev.
Oh, really
And
nice. So
yeah.
you fell in love with the Ukrainian girl and also with Ukrainian city, Ukrainian capital.
I fell in love with the capital first
Uh-huh.
for the not typical reasons.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like I came here and, I came here and I fell in love with the city.
I see.
And then after that, I met my wife at a Bitcoin conference, and she said, I'm from Kiev. And I said, I love Kiev.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, she didn't believe me.
Uh-huh.
And I said, no, I swear. I opened my phone and I said, I was just in Kiev. I love your city. It's super nice. I love it.
You know, in this case, we may say that Bitcoin is uniting people and blockchain is united people, actually. I'm not talking about specifically about Bitcoin. Okay, Hartej, tell us a few words about the next stages. Where do you see your company is heading for?
The thing is that we're waiting for the cryptocurrency industry to mature. And as it matures and companies have more capital and their products are actually hitting the market to consumers, we will see an uptick in doing things like penetration testing of more wallets and exchanges and products in this space. But for now, the truth is that we're seeing much more work in the more mature and traditional industries like healthcare, where we have groups of hospitals that are also at the same risk of being hacked. And they also are under the regulatory standards of HIPAA compliance. And we work a lot in the financial industry because of PCI compliance. And so that there's an uptick there. And then there's another uptick for us to really focus on leveraging. We have world-class engineers here in Ukraine that we are using.
That's true.
And we are, a lot of our work is from publicly traded companies from New York City or from San Francisco and London. And that's where the majority of our client base, at least for software development, comes from today. And it's machine learning work. It's not been blockchain-based work as much.
I
But
see.
we're doing some blockchain development work as well, but really the focus has been much more on the machine learning side. And as the industry matures, and if they start knocking on my door to do dozens of more smart contract audits and penetration tests, we'll be here and we'll be ready. But it's definitely not a booming business the way it was in 2017 and 18.
Oh, yeah.
We were doing, at least at Hosho, we did $4 million in revenue in the first 14 months of that company, mostly majority doing smart contract audits, barely any penetration tests, truthfully. That's something that I can now expose.
I see. In the future, we'll see what happens. But I heard like very different predictions. When do you think this community will be mature? Will become more mature? How many years do we
It's
need?
hard to say. I'd rather not. I mean, guessing that is the same as guessing the price of Bitcoin. But I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But they still do predict. A lot of my acquaintances, traders, they predict what is the price of Bitcoin, even not for tomorrow, but in a month's time, in a half of a year.
I would say
etc.
I'm looking at things like digital securities maturing, and I'm looking at real life assets being tokenized, and as these big things, the people that are leading in this are people like T0 and Securitize, Token Market. These are the biggest companies that are really churning this pot forward. It's really a tricky one, and so.
Do you think that smart contracts have a big future in online gaming and, for example, asset tokenization?
Sure. I mean, online gaming is a wonderful use case for a smart contract, and we've seen some companies leverage smart contracts for in-game items. Like there's one here in Kiev, D Market, where they have in-game items. They have a trading platform for video game in-game items. And it just makes a lot of sense to have a smart contract prove that this video game player earned this item after playing this game for so many hours. So this
Have you been auditing those smart contracts?
not from that company.
Okay, but are you dealing with that as well?
We're looking at it, and I don't remember if we've audited one of those smart contracts. We've audited a lot of smart contracts.
Okay,
But I
how
don't
much
think
have you counted? Have you tried to count, for example, like
through,
for yourself?
at least through the previous entity, Hosho, we audited, I think, well over 150. At least at least there's like over 120-ish ICOs, but I forget the numbers exactly. But there's a lot, of ICOs.
I see. Thank you so much, Hartej. Today I was interviewing Hartej Sawhney, the CEO and founder of Zokyo, a company which is co-founder, sorry, which audits smart contracts and is also doing, once again, you also mentioned.
We do software development and offensive security services.
Okay, so please remember, I am Maria Vovchok from Blockchain Hub. See you next time, and thanks for watching.
Thanks.